Detectives from the EACC, today, Tuesday, 13th November 2018, raided Migori Governor Okoth Obado's home in Nairobi and also in Migori. And they also raided the Migori government offices in Migori County. Now, what are these detectives looking for? Well, one detective told the press, quote, "We are here for a major operation. You will see what happens." In a short while, I will tell you what they're looking for. But first of all, one cannot help but sympathize with the situation of the Migori governor. After all, he's out on bail, facing very serious murder charges. And meanwhile, the EACC will not give him breathing space. They have to investigate the alleged corruption within the Migori County. Now, we have had very sensational revelations from the detectives of the EACC. They have painted quite a picture about the dealings of Okoth Obado. And indeed, courts have already agreed with them because they've frozen a vast majority of Bwana Obado's accounts. Indeed, there are reports that all his accounts have been frozen. So the immediate question is, what is he doing for money? Well, there are unconfirmed reports that actually is benefiting from the kindness and the support of well-wishers, political well-wishers. Let me just leave it at that. But I can give you a very huge hint, and indeed a clue, with what I'm going to discuss next. Now, Macharia Gaitho is a very well-respected Kenyan journalist, senior journalist. He has been at this game for decades. What makes Bwana Gaitho even more respected is that he does not respond to the call of tribal demons. What do I mean? I'm sure some of you already know, but let me explain. In the run-up to the very contentious presidential elections of last year, Bwana Gaitho wrote quite a number of commentaries. And in my view, those commentaries were all very professionally written, very balanced, not biased at all. Now you can tell even from his name that Bwana Gaitho hails from the house of Mumbi. And those in the house of Mumbi were not amused. Indeed, they said that his commentaries were skewed in support of the other side, the side of the opposition, and Raila Amolo Odinga. But looking back in retrospect, what they were actually saying is that Bwana Gaitho had failed to rise to the occasion, to stand with his people. That's really what they were saying. Clearly, what they expected was for Bwana Gaitho to write like many other journalists from the house of Mumbi, who are writing clearly skewed in one direction, in support of the house of Mumbi at the hour of need. And so, many of them viewed Bwana Gaitho as a traitor. Indeed, we saw a lot of abuses hurled at this respected journalist on social media. The insinuation is that he had been purchased, by Raila Odinga. That was very clear. Now, time heals, and time enables people to see clearly. Because one thing that time does, it cools down emotions. Because all these barbs which were being fired at Bwana Gaitho were emotional. However, what this great Kenyan did, he did something that has stood the test of time. Looking back now, there's only one word to describe the work of Bwana Gaitho. Professional. Totally professional. And very unbiased. There, I've qualified my very strong statement. Remember what I said? I said, this is a journalist who does not respond to tribal demons. Anyway, back to our topic for today. We are talking about Okoth Obado. Now, Bwana Gaitho has written a commentary, which he has titled, why Obado's presence at Ruto official functions is disturbing. Now, the reason why I've given you a very lengthy introduction to Bwana Gaitho is because there are those who will read this commentary and they may want to analyze that actually Bwana Gaitho is on the side of those who want to fight DP William Ruto, because those are the current emotions flying around in our country. And I should know, because I myself have received a lot of barbs for making any slight commentary about the deputy president. His followers have been very quick to accuse me of having some personal hatred towards their favored candidate. And so, back to Bwana Gaitho, it will not be possible for anybody who's looking at this soberly and looking at the facts to accuse Bwana Gaitho of belonging to any camp or even having any personal feelings or hatred towards the deputy president. Why? Because he already has a track record of, under intense pressure, being totally unbiased and receiving a lot of barbs and taking in a lot of insults for doing his work totally professionally as a journalist. And so, when Bwana Gaitho says that the presence of the deputy president at the functions of Migori Governor Okoth Obado are disturbing, then you had better believe it. They're very disturbing. Now, what Bwana Gaitho says in his commentary is that the deputy president represents a government that is fighting corruption, a government that must support all arms of justice in the fight against corruption. However, when you have an accused person who has already been charged in a court of law and is awaiting a verdict, not yet guilty of course, but the evidence is enough for the DPP to actually arraign him in court, when the deputy president appears at functions of this said person, hugs the person, and shows the whole world that is totally with that person, it has to be disturbing. Because the immediate message that goes forward, that goes out to the world and to Kenyans, is that the deputy president is fully behind Bwana Okoth Obado. The message that goes forth is that the deputy president does not agree with the deputy public prosecutor, or rather the director of public prosecution. What he is telling us is that the Migori governor is totally innocent. What he's doing is giving us a verdict before the courts of law give us one. Obviously, the right course of action would have been to wait for the court to tell us whether Bwana Okoth Obado is guilty or not of murder, a murder most foul. Now, matters are made worse by the latest development, where detectives have raided the homes and the offices of the Migori governor, both in Nairobi and in Migori. Matters are made worse because, as we speak, the accounts of Bwana Okoth Obado have been frozen. Why? They have been frozen because the courts have been convinced by investigators that the funds in those accounts could be the proceeds of corruption. Now, it should be obvious that if the deputy president wants to be the next president of Kenya, one of the things he must do is to distance himself as far as possible, with any whiff, even the slightest whiff of corruption to his name. However, by publicly showing that he's totally with Mr. Okoth Obado, that he totally believes in Bwana Okoth Obado, what is he telling us? He is doing the very opposite, of distancing himself, from anything, that may smell or even look like corruption, which in my view is damaging to the deputy president's own political ambitions. So let's go back to the question I left hanging. What were detectives looking for? Now, it is the view of quite a number of legal experts I've spoken to that what has already happened, the freezing of the accounts, the information detailed on the press, and so on and so forth, all that has been revealed so far, all that is in the public domain, is much more than enough to arrest Bwana Okoth Obado on corruption charges. And so the immediate question would be, why has he not been arrested? Okay? Now, the current developments could offer a clue as to why he has not already been arrested. It suggests that what detectives are looking for is very small pieces of information, very small pieces of evidence to tie up everything together so that what they have or what they end up with is a watertight case of corruption against the Migori governor. In other words, they want to make what is already compelling evidence watertight, so as to be able to arrest and charge the Migori governor. Now, with this in mind, the remarks of the detective to the press, one of the detectives who was involved in the raids, would make perfect sense. And if I can just remind you, he said, "We are here for a major operation. You will see what happens." In other words, Kenyans will see what happens after those raids. Now, what can possibly happen after those raids? Maybe throw a party for the Migori governor? Is that a possibility? Or perhaps congratulate the Migori governor for his innocence? The fact that investigations have gone nowhere and that they've actually given him a clean bill of health? Is that what the detectives were telling us to wait for? Well, let me just say, figure it out for yourself. Now, all through this recording, because I can be able to see my friend Hezron, he has been mouthing something to me. You can read lips. Somebody can mouth something without making a sound, and you can clearly read their lips. And I'm sure you can guess what Bwana Hezron, Mzee Hezron, has been mouthing to me. And if you can't guess, I can tell you, he has been very clearly mouthing towards my direction, Sharon Otieno's ghost. Well, today I'm going to be stubborn. Sisemi kitu. I insist and I persist. I'm not going to talk about ghosts. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.